All right. Hello there, and welcome back to the SWTVC show, the podcast or YouTube show home of the SWTVC crew and the ongoing push for the continued existence, expansion, and success of the heritage scale of Star Wars collecting. I am your host, Evan, or as you may know me on Instagram, at Mile High Ground. I am joined, as always, by walking, talking Star Wars action figure extraordinaire, the Vintage Concepts, John. How you doing, man?
Hello, good. How are you guys?
Oh, doing great. And today we are joined by a couple very special guests. They are members of the Hasbro Star Wars brand team. You may know them. You may recognize these faces. Steve Evans and Chris Reiff. How you guys doing?
Doing great. Hey, how you doing? Good to see you, Evan. John,
good to see
Chris, nice to see you. I haven't seen you for ages.
I have for at least
7.5 minutes.
A couple hours. Yeah.
Thank you guys for being here, first of all. Yes.
Yeah, thank you. It means a lot.
You are welcome. It's been a long week. It's been a long, crazy week.
Not over yet.
I know, we're going to get into the weekend.
Yeah.
So a nice, relaxing, doing nothing weekend. Hey, Chris.
Yeah, nothing. Absolutely nothing.
Oh, man. So obviously it goes without saying, we are deep into the fifth TVC HasLab campaign, and this one is for the LAAT. How do you say the LAAT? The LAAT/I.
Chris, what's the way, Chris?
I just do the letters. Yeah.
Yeah. LAAT.
Yeah. The only one that doesn't get the letters is the AT-AT.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're right.
Because the second you leave the letters, it gets messy. So just let's stick to the letters.
Yes. For those that are like me and bad at saying things, the gunship. The Republic Gunship campaign is going. By the time you guys are watching this, it should be about a little over a week left of the campaign. There's been tons of fun stuff going on for that. I know there's been a lot of grassroots campaigns, social media stuff, plenty of HasLab memes. That's what HasLab season means.
A ton of them.
This
one, it's incredible. Prolific. All you people are prolific out.
We try. We also we try not to be too obnoxious, but at the same time, you know, sometimes the mood strikes at 3 a.m. to whip together whatever dumb thought from a TV show you have. But Chris and Steve, you guys are taking the gunship on tour. Actually, you're deep in the weeds on that. So how's that going?
Yeah, some frequent flyer miles going on the belt this past couple weeks.
You fly, I drive.
Well, that's true. Yes.
I like miles. I like to sit in a car for 12 hours. But yeah, we've been going all over the place. Chris, more so. Some of them we can't talk about. But bouncing around all over the place. We obviously went to San Diego, went to Fan Expo. Chris has done some stuff on the far side of the country. And then tomorrow, Chris, we are... Where is it we're going?
Red 5.
Red 5, Toys and Collectibles, East Longmeadow. The old Hasbro factory place down in Springfield. I used to go there a lot. So it'd be nice to go back there.
Heck yeah, you guys will be bumping into our teammate Tyler, who's going to be showing up there with, I think, an entire semi-truck filled with clones and Jedi and Mandalorians.
We were chatting to Brian, who owns Red 5, and we're like, it'd be really cool if like people could bring their own figures and kind of lay them out, and sort of we can make like a little diorama, which we thought was a brilliant idea. And then everyone's like, that's a brilliant idea, let's do that. And now I foresee like 1,000 figures, and so everyone needs to bring a Sharpie to write their name on the bottom of their shoe or their boots, because I don't know, I think they're going to get mixed up. But anyway, it's a very nice community orientated event tomorrow. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, I wish I could be there. Alas, stuck in the Rocky Mountains. It's tons of fun.
It's such a horrible environment.
I know, poor me. Boo-hoo.
Looking forward to the photos, though. It's going to be great.
Yeah, definitely. So our listeners and viewers, you know, they certainly know who you are, but if you guys wouldn't mind, could you please introduce yourselves and talk a little bit about exactly what you do on the Hasbro Star Wars team? I'll let you guys decide who wants to go first.
Chris, you go. You go first.
I was going to make you go first.
Because you do more. You do more than me. Way more.
All right. Well, I'm Chris. I'm on design for Star Wars. Been doing Star Wars product for a long time, but I've been keeping eyes on the Black Series and vintage and the role play stuff and all the HasLabs. So it's it's been a fun time. I mean, when I first joined Hasbro, that was in 2020, and the first thing that got thrown at me was the Razor Crest. Here, do this HasLab. So I think that worked out pretty well. So we've kept the train going.
Chris is very modest. Chris is exceptionally modest. Like I've been at Hasbro for 25 years. Chris is a relatively new person at Hasbro, and but the amount of people that Chris knows within the Star Wars world is phenomenal. This guy is like, I'll say, I wonder if we can get hold of that reference or something. And Chris goes, I know a guy, I know someone. I'll ring this person. And he just seems to know everyone. When we go to San Diego, he's off. He darts off. He like runs off, and he's suddenly with somebody over here and somebody over there. So, Chris is a fantastic design lead on the Star Wars team. I liken my role as to a conductor. I don't play any instruments. Chris is the one that can play 20 instruments. I just kind of go, yeah, and I just move stuff out of the way and hopefully get him and others sort of playing the right tune. So I lead the design for Star Wars and Marvel fan product at Hasbro. I've been at Hasbro 25 years, as I say. I've done loads of different things from graphic design, from TV, from movie, to app development, to everything and anything. Been there a long time. I often find myself saying, that's a long time, 25 years, but I have never been bored. And Hasbro has been incredibly gracious to me to allow me to go and do lots of different things and essentially get paid for never stop playing and being a big kid. So like I'm very grateful. So that's what we do. We muck around
Nice.
and create cool stuff and make a living.
Yeah,
Pretty cool.
Nice
That's
to
amazing.
be in a toy box that we're passionate about.
Oh,
Oh,
And then
yeah.
you share your toys with all of us.
yes.
So I have a couple follow-up questions on what you guys do. So Steve, you were previously on the Star Wars team a while back, where you,
Yeah.
as far as I know, you launched the product for The Force Awakens. You brought back TVC and you developed HasLab with Jabba's sail barge. So some of the
Thanks for
highlights,
remembering.
yes. I can't forget anything. That's my curse. But so how does your current run on the Star Wars brand compare to your previous tenure? And has anything
Wow.
changed about your
Yeah,
approach?
a lot. Well, hopefully, I'm wiser than I was. So that was 10 years ago, 11 years ago, actually. 11 years ago, I think I started on that. Yeah, they said, hey, there's a new trilogy coming out. Do you want to run the toy product? And I was like, yeah, I'm a Star Wars kid. This is my dream job, but I know nothing about plastic. I know about graphics and story and TV moving and movies and stuff like that. But they surrounded me with a fantastic team, and I'm still surrounded by a fantastic team. I think the main thing that's differed is back then it was about making product. We're product design. So Chris and I are product design, and we made product, and we made a lot of product, and we got it out there. We worked with our marketers and things like that, and it was just really the infancy of social media. I wouldn't say it's the infancy of social media, but certainly exposure. The collector community was exposing to social media. I think toy photography was just in its infancy and it was just flourishing. And I think now, I think Chris and I, just by the very nature of what we do, we're more than product design now. It's sort of product and engagement. The blurring of the lines between creativity and community and engagement is very different. Like we think about how we make product, but then we think how we're going to tell a story about that. How is that product then going to be used for toy photography, for social media? How are we going to go out and engage with the community? It's all one interconnected tapestry at the moment, which is incredibly exciting, incredibly confusing and frightening sometimes. But that is the main difference. That's like a day and night difference between now and 10 years ago.
Yeah.
And
Now
then
we have two jobs.
yes. Do you get paid two salaries? That's the
Yeah.
dream. So, and Chris, how does being at Hasbro compare to your other time working on Star Wars projects over the years?
Well, it's a different thing for sure. I mean, when I started on Star Wars, I was working for a consultancy, which just consultancy versus the corporate world is like entirely different. Because at a consultancy, like you're like where now I've got a Star Wars focus, and that's what it is every day. It's Star Wars. At the consultancy, it was Star Wars was there, but then like some days might be swim goggles or dive toys or Halloween decorations. So there's a consistency in working on one brand and having the resources of a place like Hasbro. because now, like it used to be also at the consultancy, it's like we, as individuals there, we did a lot more of the stuff. Now we have, I mean, like Steve said, we work in product development, but product development for us is it's about a massive team. Like we have partners in all parts of the country and all parts of the world that we just we get to play with them in this toy box and kind of keep an eye on and a vision. And I think that's part of what design does is we look down on all this stuff and kind of help to tell, like we have a vision for what the story is we want to tell, what the product is, and we understand how to work with all those partners and help them work with each other and how to let them help us figure that stuff out too. So it's about that. And I think that's the biggest difference between the stuff I used to do and now is I have way more people to share it with and to help get it done.
I did a count once. I was doing a lecture at a university about toy production, and we got like it's about 21 different disciplines or departments, however you want to say it, of like from copywriting, from marketing, from sales, all the different disciplines that are all in this one interconnected process to make a plastic figure. And it's huge. It's so complex and interesting. Yeah, it's mind-boggling. I don't think people quite understand how many different disciplines touch an action figure to get it from someone's brain onto the back of your shelf, John.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a very complicated Venn diagram. It's
yeah, John, you should think about that more often.
I do. Just if you made everything I specifically want, then it'd be fine, But
Yeah, exactly.
I know there's a lot of.
Wouldn't that be brilliant?
So the vintage collection covers a lot of things like figures plus world building items like beasts, play sets, and vehicles. Can you talk about some of the certain differences and challenges in the design process unique to those different areas? Is it all kind of the same thing, or
not at all. Not at all. I think that's one of the fun things about it for me is like I've told Steve this before. I like a good problem solving, and that's one of the great things I think about the toy industry and collectibles is every product is different, and trying to figure out the nuances of each thing and how to do each thing right. And sometimes that's figure to figure. Let alone when you jump to a ship or a play set, like there's all sorts of different concerns. You're working with different people and different disciplines, negotiating different things, and you have a different set of weights that you're balancing, whether that's budget or, I mean, we've talked about item count and tooling dollars and how much it costs to deco figures. Like you're balancing all that stuff constantly. And the balance for those different things changes depending on the project you're on, even. So,
yeah, they're all different, all very they're all interdependent, but they're all very independent of each other. Like if you're doing a play set, you got to think how that works with figures. If you're doing a figure, then you got to work how does that work up with play sets. Chris is right. I was going to make a comment about his problem solving desire on the last question, but yeah, Chris is fantastic in terms of. He gets itchy if there's no problems to solve. So we're always kind of like,
yeah, that's a problem. I start trying to make problems.
It's his foible, but I love that because it's like, how do we do this? Or Chris, how do we do this? And he's like, oh, I don't know, but I'll go work it out. So he's fabulous at that. I love it.
I'm constantly popping into Steve's office halfway through a freak out because that's how I get revved up to fix the freak out.
Yeah, it is. It took me a while to notice that, and I was like, oh my God, he's freaking out. I'm like, that's
the process.
Starting the engine.
Yeah, it's the identifying problem stage of the puzzle. Yeah.
Nice.
Well, Steve, you work on both Star Wars and Marvel right now. So how does working on Star Wars compare to working on other brands? Are there different hurdles to clear, different considerations?
I mean, fundamentally they're similar. Obviously, we're making same kind of figures and products and things. Star Wars as obviously more ships and stuff like that. So there's a different approach there. I think the licensor, our friends at Disney they're different with Lucasfilm and Marvel, and there are different people there and different personalities there, which makes it a great story. And we have fun. We have fun with both of them. They're fantastic. And the different movies. I think Marvel, because there's a lot of movies or more movies that come out and more shows than Star Wars. I think that's Disney are working to find that balance correct. So that traditionally is a little bit of a different approach. It's like, how do we react and support their storytelling that they want to do on TV or on Disney Plus versus Star Wars. And then you obviously got Star Wars. They're both a legacy brand, so they've been around a long time. So there's a whole load of legacy and characters and things. Everyone's got, like, I think Marvel has 8,000 characters or something crazy like that. And Star Wars is probably not that far behind, maybe not quite as much, but I've used the word tapestry twice, I think. The tapestry of the lore and the characters and the nuances are very, very similar. The communities are relatively similar. I will say, unsurprisingly, TVC, the scale dynamic is different on Star Wars. Some of you like 6 inch, some of you like 3 3/4 inch, some of you don't mind the other one, some of you do not like the other one. So there's this dynamic there, which is very different, which is fascinating to me because I'm very interested in what drives people to collect and the almost tribal nature of of collectors. It's very similar to sports teams. There's this sort of, like, you feel an ownership and you feel a camaraderie. But to do that, you often find you have to find some conflict somewhere because it brings it alive. Whether it's conflict with disagreement about which size is the best, or which character is the best, or which trilogy is the best, or even the conflict in hunting down the grail that you want to find. Stories, it's story. You can't have a story without conflict. You can't have a story without success, failure, success, 3 acts. So they are different, but they're fundamentally the same psychologically, internally for us humans. I got deep, didn't it? You only asked me. But there you go. That's my answer.
All right. My takeaway is that we all need to fight more then. Is that?
Yes.
Just
As
don't
long
bring
as
us
it
into
finishes
it.
don't stop in the middle of the movie.
True.
Yes.
Yeah, you got to end up on a high at the end of it.
Well, speaking of highs, we've got the highs of HasLabs and really cool stuff that you guys are able to offer through that. I was going to use the word expression through things like that. So the gunship, you guys started off HasLab with the vintage collection sail barge. Fans are starting to receive the cantina as we speak, and here we are on the 5th vintage collection HasLab, the Republic Gunship. It looks amazing. We're getting into the final stretch of the campaign. What makes this one special to you?
Chris, you want to go for it? You designed it, and
Well, a couple things there. Special for me, I think I remember that one that we were talking earlier. I think it first came out in like 2002 or 2003. The
yeah.
consideration of it. I mean, I remember that thing from it sitting on the shelf at the toy store. And I think for me, the emphasis there is on toy. And that product back then, I was telling Steve earlier, I think, like, if you look at the figures that were around in 2002, 2003, and look at how the industry and TVC has grown and evolved since then. I mean, it wasn't even TVC when that thing first came out. So TVC, kind of early days of TVC, inherited a toy and tried to turn it into something that was respectable for TVC. And I think that worked great for the time, but that was early days. And as TVC has grown and evolved and the industry has changed, where now we have a kids line for figures, and we have a more collector focused line in TVC and Black Series. I think in 2002, 2003, that didn't exist. It was all one big line. So it was serving two masters. Now we get to fully embrace that more collector side, the detail and all that comes with that. Like for figures, like you guys see that in articulation and detail and beautiful sculpts from our team. In vehicles, it's especially in HasLabs for dream projects, it's the deep dive into detail, into scale, working with our partners at Lucasfilm to really redefine what a product can be and move away from toy into something that's very very high end. And I think, like, for me, that's the focus and the fun of this one in particular is that it's such a huge change from where it was, both in scale, like that's obvious, like you guys can see that and just how much bigger it is, but in the detail and the level of execution that we're able to bring to it now.
Yeah, I think adding on to that sort of the practical side of like why the actual ship is special now, I think I'll layer into that. Um, and you guys are probably of the right generation. You look a lot younger than me.
Yeah.
Like the prequel re-energization of the prequels is you can't argue against it. We have people who like original trilogy. We have like people who like prequel trilogy. We have people who like Heir to the Empire comics. That's Star Wars. That's that tapestry again. But we have seen such a marketed rise in that. Even from like Hayden coming back at the celebration and just like he was almost in tears. I think he was in tears. Just that generation has grown up. I came in to Hasbro episode 1, 1999. I thought I was going to get free toys. That's why I joined Hasbro originally. I did. So that was good. That generation is now your age. I don't know how old you guys are, but it's like they got disposable income and they want that nostalgia back. I've seen it. My son is 22, so he's younger than you guys, I think. But he came home from university and he came into the room, the other side of those cabinets, and there was a load of Nerf blasters and his gunship. To be fair, his gunship was in there, and I saw it in his eyes. I saw that. Oh, I remember this. That nostalgia, and that's what we do. We want to recapture that nostalgia, that whether it's an innocent time or a better time, I don't know what it is, but there's something there. So that is happening now for the prequels. It will happen again in 15, 20 years for the sequels. I promise you, regardless of what you think of the sequels, like it'll come. It will come. It's just the nature of things. So I think the gunship, when we look at like the prequels and we think about those iconic ships, and I promised I wouldn't use the word iconic, but I've used it,
My favorite
is
word.
like it's the gunship. The shape of it is so very Star Wars, boom, boom, very geometric. And what I love about it as well is it is like the barge. I was there at the very beginning with the barge. The barge is a play ship, is a play set. It's a ship that's a play set. You can pose your figures and have fun on it. The the beautiful thing about the gunship, in my opinion, is you can have clones and Jedi spilling out, and there's people around it. You've still seen my stupid little sketchy poster. It's a display piece. It's a centerpiece. It's a play ship, and it is probably the quintessential prequel ship that delivers that. And yes, it's been around before, but I think to echo what Chris was saying, if you're a TVC collection, you think you've already got a TVC gunship, you haven't. You don't. You have a toy from 2002, which is fabulous. It's my son's. That got him feeling nostalgic, but like the all new one is just so much more than that, and I think can deliver that beautiful display piece that we all want. I can see it at the back of John there. You've got all the pieces kind of laid out, some of which are lined up, some of which are telling a story. But if you have that there, all spilling out, interacting with the figures that we're going to bring you in 2026 for Battle of Geonosis, there's something there. That's TVC for me. And that's why I think that's special here. And we'll continue to do that. And we'll continue to tell stories every year. And we'll tell different stories. I can't tell you where we're going to go in 27, but it's been awesome.
I want to spend some time in Geonosis first. We got a little time left on Tatooine too.
Yeah.
But yeah, on a personal note, yeah, Evan and I were of the prequel generation. We're in our mid 30s now, so we were kids when the prequel, young, 9, 12, and 15 when the prequels were coming out. So the nostalgia is hitting us. I listened to our old podcast on the 20th anniversary of Attack of the Clones, talking about how much fun we had. I would just build the arena scene over and over again. And it's such a great centerpiece for all the Jedi and the clones and the droids, and the first big battle of the Clone Wars. One of my favorite moments of the prequels for sure.
Yeah,
So
getting that gunship was transformative for me as a kid, for sure.
It was so big. Do you remember it when I bought it for Sam in 2008. He was into the Clone Wars, so he came in it on Clone Wars, and I was like, "This is huge, this blooming thing." It's like, and when Chris was designing it, and kind of he came in, and he was like, "I got the models ready. We can look at the model." And I was like, "Can you I said, we'll have
Yeah,
it.
I staged it so when Steve
Have it-
walked in the room, the original was sitting
yeah,
next
I
to
said,
it.
I want to see it with the other one because I will know instantly what that means. And I went in and I was just like, whoa, what? It's like it was just incredible. And I think the biggest thing, if you remember me, I said, is that the right proportions, Chris? I said, it seems all stubby because I'm so used to seeing the 2002 toy, which is quite elongated. The proportions are quite out. And if you remember, Chris, you pulled up the CG reference and we overlaid a photo of it and it was like spot on. I was like, my God, I didn't even realize that. Didn't even realize the proportions are so different. So it's good
Yeah,
stuff. And they pay us to do this as well, by the way. Like, oh my
we
Jealous.
do
God.
we do it
Where
for
do I
free,
apply?
so you're living the dream. So it's got to be difficult adapting a CGI model as perfectly as you did, but from something in a movie to look good in a movie to be a physical item for collectors' shelves. Have you had to come up with any clever or fun solutions? Some of those issues, some of those challenges you were talking about earlier while working with the design of the gunship. You'd like to talk about?
Yeah, I mean, there's some stuff that's just impractical, from movie magic to actual product, but we try and bridge the gap of what you see to what you think you see. And I think that's a good way to think about it sometime is like we even try and work the illusion on ourselves and tell the story so that it makes sense. Um, the way the missiles in the back of those ships work, like they're on some giant thing and they like come up a track and over and down, but that's impractical. So like doing like the little drums that spin and can pop out, like that's a more interesting thing when you're trying to interact with that ship and it still gives you the same feel. Little things like that. Other stuff, I mean, part of what we did on this HasLab is the gunship as it appears in episode 2 doesn't have those side doors on it. The arch door and the other cover plate, those aren't there. They're just not part of it. But through the course of Clone Wars, I mean, I would contest the gunship or gunships in general have more screen time than any other ship in Star Wars at this point. All through the Clone Wars, all that, and there are different iterations of them, and figuring out how we could do those panels to snap in and give subtle alterations or alternate versions of the ship to people and still make it make sense in universe. I think
Chris keeps coming into the office going, I've discovered a new warning label that needs to go on the like it's different there. Like Adam who's out at LFL, when those two get together, they spot everything. I mean, the renders you're seeing on the HasLab website are obviously just renders. Chris, we're taking around the model. Chris was tinkering around with the model yesterday. You took it out of my office and went, I'll bring this back. And off he goes because he's finding new things and putting different scribes and different deco and colors because it just evolves. I think that's the other thing with HasLab.
Yeah.
We start it, we sculpt it, and we print out one prototype. There is one TVC gunship in the world. And we launch it and we say, hey, do you like it? Come on board if you love it. And we're still discovering things. Chris is still discovering things and changing and making changes. It's just you are in the midst of building the airplanes we fly, I guess is the best analogy.
Yeah.
But I find that fascinating. I hope other people do as well, that it's you're seeing how we make things.
Chris, I love that you mentioned the rotating and the missiles. I know John in his notes had actually put a thank you for that like that detail specifically because that's so much fun.
I love that moment in the movie, and the old gunship, as fun as it was, I didn't have that ability. So the fact when that came up on the reveal video, I was like, yes, okay, here we go, finally.
Well,
Spinning missiles, yay!
I don't think I've done it on any videos, but those drums with the missiles in them come out of there.
Oh, nice. Okay.
So you can
Okay.
actually pull that a little cartridge out with all those missiles around, so it's real easy to load if you want to pull those out and
Awesome.
play that way. So not only are the missiles themselves removable, but the whole missile cartridge is removable.
Awesome.
So,
I need some shots of that tomorrow at Red 5,
Yeah.
please.
Yes, please.
So
yeah.
among the 18,000 other
that-
shots people are getting.
What we will try and do that. I am not 100% sure if that is in the model that we have.
Okay.
To
Okay.
point, like things have continued to change and evolve, and
Yeah.
I think it's in there. if it's in there, we'll get them out and play
I'm
with
waiting
them.
for someone to break something tomorrow on prototype. We should make it feel really bad, Chris. Someone's going. I'm amazed we haven't had any little snaps of the 3D printing.
Yeah. I try and walk around and guard it.
Everybody, get back, get back, get back.
Yeah. I think I messaged on Instagram the other day to somebody that like part of the idea is that we want people to be able to get their hands on it and see and interact with the thing. Like that's the beauty of having a model and doing the tour is that people get to see it and interact with it personally. And if people have figures they want to bring and set in it for memories, that's awesome.
Yeah, that's wicked. I can't wait for that tomorrow. That's going to be fun. Super fun.
Well, you've got your own little, battle protecting it. You got to create a perimeter around the gunship. But, the Battle of Geonosis, we're talking about that. John, you mentioned that we've got a little bit of time left on Tatooine, but we're setting our sights on Battle of Geonosis. So just want to ask, real quick, why is now the right time for the Battle of Geonosis? What inspired this brand story?
I think it's kind of what I mentioned earlier. It's just the swell of the prequels. You kind of think your audience, and your audience always surprises you. So like we know the vintage collection. There's a lot of people kind of my age, the original trilogy. But I love that the community expands and swells and changes and shifts and things. And we often think, oh yeah, vintage collection, yeah, it's the old guys, the original trilogy guys, yeah, we know exactly who they are, and it's like it is, but it's also more. And I think we've seen that over the last sort of couple of years, particularly, and I think that's important. Like that is important to pass on the community, expand it. Like, we've got to expand. We've got to, I use the term retain and recruit. Chris hears it every blooming day. Is like retain and recruit. Like, how do we do stuff for the people that have been with us forever? And how are we going to make this community, this particular line and 6-inch line and any other line we're on, especially any collector line, fan line, how are we going to bring new people in? How are we going to show the specifics? And I think, TVC benefits from being big enough to have all the detail, small enough to be able to world build and have figures and creatures and ships and play sets and all that kind of stuff around. So like I think that's the reason we kind of decided to kind of like, yeah, okay, let's get some prequel. Let's get some prequel in there. And I think that particular moment with the ship and Geonosis, I think it all sort of led together. It was like prequels, ship, old gunship. Oh, where are we going to get figures and creatures and play sets and shit? Oh, Attack of the Clones. And there was a little bit of like, some people take the mickey out of Attack of the Clones sometimes. I actually really like it. And I particularly like that last section. It's the start of the Clone Wars. And we're like, let's do that because you've got some weird stuff going on in there. So, which I can't talk more about, but it's just, that's why. That's why.
Awesome.
That's why. And whatever we choose will be right, and whatever we choose will be wrong as well. Like within Star Wars, there'll be someone, oh, you should have done this. It's like, yeah, of course.
Some people say it should have been Order 66. It's like, well, recreate all the characters just falling down dead. Is that the most exciting thing we can do?
Oh, it's Order 66 if you just put different troopers in the gun.
That's true. That's true. Exactly.
Yeah.
So there you go.
We
Works
will
for the whole
never,
Clone Wars.
we will never give everybody everything they want at the exact time that they want it. Like that is our lot in life. Again, another great quote. But it's fun trying. It really is fun trying. And we can get more when we expand that community and bring more people in. So like that's our job and that's your job. And you're doing it. You're doing this broadcast and you're putting it out there in the airways and advocating for what TVC in the 3.75 scale stands for. And that's what we need to do because it is a unique scale. I'm not going to say it's my favorite scale. I'm not going to say it isn't either. It's like I have plenty of 3.75 scale there because of my age, but it's like there is something unique about that scale that delivers something different.
Well, and I think it's the Star Wars fan community in general too is a great community to be part of and trying to deliver product for. Just the feedback loop from the fans. I mean, it would be very easy for Steve and I to like sit in an office and make the toys we want to make for ourselves. Like, and it would eliminate a lot of people from what folks want.
Yeah.
But the beauty of what we get to do is to navigate that puzzle and listen to the community and listen to other people, pull all sorts of opinions in and try and decipher that to really deliver across the spectrum of Star Wars fans. So
And that's what we do. We do our best. I hope it comes across that, you know, we all love what we do. And that's the same for Star Wars and Marvel and anyone that you talk to within our team or those disciplines, you know, the ones that are really close to the heart of it, they're just fanboys and girls as well. They just love it. They just love it. We do our very best and we put all our heart into it. And it means a lot to us. Like we have a birthday coming up in 2027, and I'm not going to talk about anything we're doing for that, but like that is a special, special year. Like that means a lot. You're gonna get emotional. That means a lot
yeah.
to us, and we're going to do everything we can to make it incredible. And we won't be able to deliver everything that you want because we all each individually have our own emotion by that. Like there are going to be a lot of tears in 27. I promise you that. Promise you
I
that.
can already feel them welling up now.
Yeah, yeah, it is. I'm already emotional now.
Wow.
Oh my God, it's the end of the week. It's been a long week, but
Yeah.
you know, I'm honored to be part of the team. You know, with Chris and the rest of the team to have a crack at that because I'm not here for the 100th. I'm not here.
Maybe. Yeah.
Yeah, come on.
I won't be
Advances
here
in
for the
modern
100th.
medicine.
You lot might be. I won't be.
Rebellions are built
Um,
on hope. Come on, Steve.
But
Yeah.
I'm gonna give it everything I've got for the 50th.
Nice. So, as you guys are working so far ahead, you know so much of what we don't. That kind of leads me to our next question. You've sort of pivoted to no longer doing pipeline reveals to preserve the surprise of reveals, which, in my personal opinion, that makes a lot of sense in a lot of cases. But with things like HasLabs, we want to build around it. We want to world build around it. And there hasn't been a lot of prequel stuff in the line lately. During the Ghost, Hasbro let fans know Sabine and Chopper were coming to finish the mural set. During the Cantina campaign, you pipelined the mains, make the mains, Luke, Ben, Han, Chewie, as well as Hammerhead, which kind of helped to ease fans' anxiety about these key characters. And you do continue to support HasLabs years after the fact, but can you talk a little bit about the thought process of sort of starting with the HasLab and then, you know, keeping the surprises until afterwards? Why that was the right call this time?
As I better talk about pipelines, I missed the anti-pipeline. Yeah, I always listen. My opinion, and again, it's my sort of opinion, is that we have a lot of talented designers that work hard at creating these figures. You know, it's like comic books. Every comic book artist has a different hand, a different way of bringing these characters to life. It's the same with sculpture. It's not just that those toys don't get spat out of machines. These are people sculpting them and having opinions and making changes, and there's a lot of work in there. And I love the fact. I love it when we can surprise people with here it is, and we show you the art. Um, sometimes I find pipelines can be a little bit anticlimactic. Everyone goes, "Oh, it's going to be that. It's going to be this," and they get it in their head, and it sort of desensitizes the reaction you have when you actually see the thing. That said, I understand that they can be used occasionally and used when they're needed. We did do pipelines for HasLabs. I think depending on what time everyone's watching this, we'll see. Maybe we'll have a slightly different discussion if we come back. But we use pipelines sensitively when it's right. I don't believe in flooding it with pipelines because I want to surprise you. We want to surprise you with Heir to the Empire packs and like things out left field. Like we've got some things that like I am not pipelining. Like there's some things that there is no way in hell I'm going to pipeline that because I want to see people's faces when they come out. But we hear you. We hear you and we understand that there is a balance. It is a balance. Chris, anything else to add to that?
No, I think there have been some teases in some of the stuff we have shared, even for the gunship. Some sharp-eyed fans have spotted quite a few things. So yeah, I mean, same thing as Steve said. It's anticlimactic to give it all away.
And I will also say that obviously we've got Return to Tatooine, so we're trying to set a precedence. So in 25 we had Return to Tatooine, we had X number of figures and that sort of bulk of stuff as a story, as a beat. Battle of Geonosis is probably going to be about the same. You know, we put out my terribly scribbled poster that feels about the same, maybe busier, but that might be with repeats and army builders and things. We've also got another story in 26. We've got Grogu and Mandalorian and Grogu movie coming out, so that's going to be another big beat. So I'm hoping to build a little bit of a cadence or a rhythm so people kind of understand how much each little story beat's gonna be. But we hear you. I know people want reassurance. I also think people just want to know as
Yeah.
well. But that's the fun of the chase as well. I'm a massive tease. You can just ask my wife and my kids. I love a good tease. So you'll have to forgive me that I will continue to be a tease until I'm not on the brand anymore.
Fair enough. Fair enough. We'll see how relevant this part is after the Red 5 event, but here's hoping. Here's hoping. Always in motion is the future, as some guy who run on Gunship once said. And so another thing about what's coming, I know you're not going to say can't talk about it right now, but just to put the seed in the dirt here. We know you're not adding anything else to the HasLab offering, but is there a chance later on for perhaps like an add-on pack for the Gunship in the future with like a couple additional Clone Wars nose art panels, some blast effects, some floodlights from Clone Wars, clone pilots, anything, any of the above?
You mean after we funded it all and brought it home?
When
Yes,
this backs,
yes. Afterwards,
I see what you
say,
mean.
hey, everybody.
Well, you know the answer to this one, right?
Yeah.
Like
Yes.
asking
I know the
Christopher
answer,
exactly
but
the same words.
have to throw it out there.
Yeah,
I want it personally, so
I think I will say that we've aligned on our 26 plan. I mean, we're not going to tell you what that is. It might have stuff like that. It might not have stuff like that. But I think, again, with Return to Tatooine, those of you who are at San Diego Comic-Con saw a little tease. Again, another tease. Once it's done, it's not done. We can always come back to it and add things to it because we know that these collectors, you're not like 5-year-old children that come in, they play, and then they go off and do something else, and then another lot come in. We're in it most of us are in it for life, right? For us fools, we're in it for life. So who knows? Who knows? It may not be next year, maybe the year after, it may be 5 years later. I don't know. But what we do enjoy is we do enjoy those ideas when they come in. We're not paying commission on things, but it's like it's fun to see people's ideas, and most of them we've toyed around with and thought about. Like,
sure.
This is a clever guy. He kind of thinks about these things. So
yes.
So that is my sidestepping answer to your direct question, which you'll always have for a memorial.
Yeah.
Well, and as Steve said, I mean, there's plenty of examples of how we've continued to support stuff. I mean, and the barge still gets support. That Jabba's Denizen pack, the blurg, we're not. Yeah, there you go. It's like that stuff, and I think I've talked about it before. When we were working on the Razor Crest, I had the 3D file of the blurg. I made sure it fit, knowing that we didn't have it on the plan at the time, but we were planning for the future for that, knowing that it's something we wanted to do. It didn't have a spot at the time, but we were planning for it. And the Gunship is no different. It is part of the same process. So we plan things and we look forward.
Awesome. Well, I know we could talk all day about this stuff. We have so many questions that we want to pick your brains on.
We do talk about this stuff all day.
We do. Yes, we do. I know. Do you guys need to get out of here in a minute?
7.5 minutes left.
7.5 minutes?
No, I'm checking. My dinner's going to be ready.
Cool.
Keep going. No, keep going.
Cool. Just wanted to make sure.
No, of course not. We could be here all night. Just keep going.
Yeah.
We're no different. We talk about Star Wars all day.
Oh, we absolutely do.
Well, Steve has to talk about Marvel every once in a while.
That's true. I have to balance it.
I go throw him a rope and drag him back in.
Both of which my wife goes, are you still going on about that? Why are you down in your basement talking or making stuff or doing Instagram on Marvel and Star Wars? Like, hasn't work finished? I'm like, it never finishes. I want to finish.
Yeah, I mean, we're gonna hop in cars and drive 2 hours to go to Red 5 tomorrow. So
love that.
Yeah.
Steve, you'd mentioned Marvel's got 8,000 or so characters. I know for a fact that John is sitting on a list of almost 2,000 Star Wars characters just from March Madness stuff that we do. That's one of our big things is that we try to get the community whipped up and engaged about that stuff so that we can
you do. And thank you for that, by the way. That's a great insight tool.
It's our pleasure.
It doesn't come as any surprise that we obviously pay attention to things like that. And there are other ones that and we pay
Yeah,
attention
sure.
to those too. But
Last
yeah,
Figure Standing coming
right,
up
I love
soon,
it.
and plenty of other
yes.
stuff going on.
Yeah, it's really great when we look at that list and we go, yep, yep.
Yeah.
We have
That's
a
all we
post.
want.
We have a poster in our design thing with it all ticked off, and like
Nice.
we just wish
Wow.
we could tell you which ones we've ticked off.
Yeah.
But
Oh,
there
well,
are some that we have ticked some off, or we are going to be ticking some.
Amazing.
Like we'll give you that.
That's
oh,
awesome.
so
We'll take
excited.
that. Well, that's
Yeah.
awesome to hear.
Well, and that kind of leads me in, we know that Star Wars and TVC fans can get loud, and we aren't shy about sharing our opinions. Steve, you're very active on social media.
I don't know if you gotta follow me. You follow me if you haven't already, everybody, but I know Chris you do, but
and Chris,
Well, and I think there are, to the opinions point, there are no bad opinions. There are some poorly expressed opinions.
yes.
And but I think all of the opinions we see, like we take all that stuff to heart. Like Steve said, we're fans, like we're people that work on this stuff. We see it, and you're talking to us and talking about the stuff we work on. It's meaningful, and whether it's good or bad, like we hear that.
Yeah.
What we appreciate is when people present that in a way that's meaningful and constructive and not abusive.
Yeah, I mean, it's important. Like the good stuff we hear, it's like it's nice to hear, but it doesn't teach us anything. You don't teach from success, if that makes sense. It's like sometimes we miss things or we do things we could have done it differently. They're the things we like to hear about because that helps us get better. Like believe it or not, we're all human and we do things and we make decisions and sometimes we miss the point. So that part of the feedback, constructive feedback, is vital to to us, to you, to everybody. Everybody try and teach my teenagers that, and I hate it. But it's like failure is a good. That's where you learn. That's where you get the good stuff. So
the greatest
yeah,
teacher
I'm,
failure is Yoda. Also,
it
Yoda
is. Yeah, I
quotes
set
keep
you up
popping
on
up all
that
the
one.
time.
I
Yeah,
set you up on that one
thank you very
completely.
Yeah,
much.
I
in
told
some
my
movie that some
I
people
was
have
a
seen.
I was a scoutmaster for a while, and I used that quote to my scouts because they came in thinking that they had to get their badges without fail. And I sat them down. I used that quote and spoke about I expect you to fail because you're doing things for the first time. If you get them right, you're not trying hard enough, or the challenges aren't hard enough. Like you need to fail to be able to work out how to change things to make it better. So that got very deep. But
Well,
yeah, it's important. Constructive criticism is important, and it's totally fine.
yeah. Well, and I've told this to Steve before too. I mean, I've been in this industry and working on Star Wars for a long time. And I feel now, and this is true, I feel now that I feel like I have more to learn now than I thought I had to learn weeks into the process. I think that's one thing that experience teaches you is that the more you know, the more you realize you don't know on top of that. And I think that's something that we struggle with all the time. And the community helps us learn more and helps us learn what we don't know.
It's cool. It's called growing up. We're growing up. It's finally. We're like, well, I'm 53. So, no, how old am I? Oh my God, no, 52. I'm 52 still. All right. Don't age me. I'm just about growing up, I think. But anyway, so yeah,
growing up is
feedback
overrated.
is vital. And remember remember you asked me what's the difference between when you were first on and when you're now? I think that engagement. It's engagement, like the ability of like to do this. Like we didn't do that 10 years ago. It wasn't
Yeah, it was conventions were the only interaction with fans 10 years ago.
vital. I don't know how we got away with it before. I don't know how we did it. I love this.
I mean, it's got to be different. You get 1,000 Star Wars fans, and you get 1,000 different opinions on 1,000 different subjects.
Yeah.
So you're being pulled in every direction at all times. I mean, our comments also are full of every opinion imaginable. And it's like, how do you? We try to focus.
We're experienced enough now to funnel that. We have ways of kind of gathering and funneling and interpreting and kind of trying to find the true thread through a load of feedback. Like we've been around the block a number of times to do that. But if we don't have that voice and that engagement, we can't even do that exercise, and we get nothing out, and we just end up being subjective about everything. And that's no good.
John, was there anything else in our notes that you wanted to touch on?
We touched on a lot of these great questions, stunning questions. I'm just kidding. In this great conversation, you kind of touched on a lot of the stuff we were wondering about. So thank you guys. We had asked, what does TVC and the 3.75-inch scale of Star Wars mean to you? We kind of asked that already, but anything else you want to say on that? It's another big topic. But what does TVC and this scale of Star Wars mean to you guys?
I'm gonna go first because Jing went first last time, and I ended up crying when I answered this question.
Oh, yeah, you did, didn't you?
I did. No, I think we did
I would
touch on it a little bit earlier that working on these toys and collectibles it's super meaningful. I mean, for me personally, I mean, I grew up playing with the original toys. My career started working for the guys who did those original toys. And now to be this moment's shepherd of these toys and to work with the teams I get to work with and the people I get to work with on this stuff that I love so much, it's super meaningful. So that's what the 375 world and Star Wars world means to me. I mean, it's like Steve said, I know everybody, it seems like sometimes, and that's only because of Star Wars in that community. So there you go. Steve, you get to cry now.
No, I've already had my cry. I've already had my cry today. I echo a lot of that. Unsurprisingly, it's, I was a Star Wars kid as a youngster. My mum and dad used to run restaurants and hotels, and I'm an only child, and they used to work in the restaurants over there, and we would often live next door to or above in like an apartment. And I always remember I could hear them in the kitchen. My dad was a chef, my mum was the waitress. They would run restaurants. I could hear them, but I couldn't get to them. I couldn't call for them because it was too noisy. So I was often on my own. So it's the old cliche of like my toys with my friends. And I had my little blue dog, which is over there, and I have my Star Wars figures. So it's like it was a way of telling stories and interacting with characters. And I'm a Boy Scout at heart. Like, I like Luke Skywalker. A lot of people go, oh, Han Solo's coolest. I like Luke. I like Superman versus Batman. I liked Cyclops more than Wolverine. For some reason, I had this sort of Boy Scout thing. I became a Scoutmaster. Um, so it was really important to me as I developed. And then that opportunity when you get to work for the company that makes those, that were in charge of those toys. And I didn't work on Star Wars. I started in '99. I didn't work on Star Wars till 2014. So it took a while for me to get there. Um, and now I will cry. And then when I got there, my father died. My father passed away suddenly in 3 weeks. He had bile cancer, and he was just rang me up and said, "Tink," that was his name. He called me. I'm not going to make it. And he passed away, and I came back, and I was offered the job at Star Wars. I never had the chance to tell him I made my dream job. So Star Wars is everything to me, and that little scale that just fits in your hand is just it's me. It's me through early days, middle age, and it will be me when I wriggle off this mortal coil and go and see my dad. So
As a fellow only child, Steve, that hits. I
yeah,
feel that, and that's very much why that storytelling, that escape. That's a big part of why we do carry this into our adulthood. When people are like, "Oh, you collect toys as an adult," and it's like, "Yeah, I guess I do."
yes, we
Uh,
do.
so, and you know what? Proud of it. I've got them in my work office. Coworkers stop by and be like, "Have fun with that, bud," and I do. Dang it, I do.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Well, I think that is a great place to really wrap this up. Chris, Steve, this meant a lot for you guys to take the time out of your day and out of your busy gunship tour and all of the hullabaloo and the fun stuff that's going into this last week of the campaign. Thank you so much again for doing this with us.
Always welcome.
And
Always welcome.
thanks for making me tear up on a Friday afternoon here. So
Yeah.
I appreciate
Me
it.
and Chris are going to have a nice hug in the morning, I think.
Yeah.
Other coffees are available. We'll have a nice hot coffee and a hug in the morning. But yeah, no, thank you guys. And again, thank you for everything you do. You're one of many that do all this kind of stuff. I know you represent this community very pragmatically and very positively, and we thank you for that. We know that you flag when you have things to say, but you ultimately are propelling this scale and propelling Star Wars at this scale. And I just encourage you to keep doing that and bringing in new fans and just be the advocates for what TVC is and what for 375 is. It's that unique world building scale. Just keep doing it. Keep doing what you do. And I look forward to partnering, or we look forward to partnering with you more on promoting this incredible pieces of plastic.
Yes.
So much more than just
We'll hold you to that.
Yes,
I hope
thank
we
you,
can
thank
get you guys on more. You know, loved getting to chat with you. So it's awesome.
Yeah, it's been great. And thanks to everybody who's watching, the entire community. I mean, you hear it in how we talk about this stuff. Like we broker in emotions is what we do. And we make ways for people to take those moments home. And when that resonates with somebody, that's extra special. So we like sharing that with everybody.
Well said.
Yeah. All right. Well,
All right.
the formality part of the wrap up, you know, that does it for this part of this episode of the SWTVC show. Chris, Steve, John, thank you guys so much for doing this today. Get the gunship if you haven't already. Also enter our giveaway. We're giving away a ghost to those who have backed the gunship. You can find all of the details on our Instagram. That is Instagram at SWTVC. And yeah, folks, I'm sure you'll see Chris and Steve on the road, more promotions for the gunship, and let's get this thing going. All right, everybody. As always, keep 375 alive, and may the force be with you.
Always.